been a little bit since one of these, and in fact, this one will be shorter, mostly because, the game in general is really short. But we're here to talk about Penguin Wars, not only the game itself, but the set on RA. So, if you don't know what Penguin Wars is, well, at least the Game Boy port is a pseudo, dodgeball collectible thing, is how I would describe it. Where your main goal is to play dodgeball, but you're on this little platform where you have to have 10 balls on the other side, and we'll see a bit of this as we go along here. Uh, Overall, for the Game Boy especially, I think this is possibly one. I'm starting off really strong, but I think the Game Boy version is actually my preferred of all of them. I do think the arcade is really fun, but is super brutally hard. Uh, and when it comes to the NES one, it has the same problem where it's just brutally hard. So, but you can pretty much win most of these rounds pretty easily. You don't need to try too hard, but as you can see, you just need to get 10 on each side. If you get hit, you're stunned for quite a decent amount of time, and of course you get more score as you go along, which is basic. But you can play as different characters, and all of them have different attributes. The cow throws harder, but is slower in walking. Recommendation though, just pick up the penguin. The penguin does a decent job in just like allowing you to play the game. Uh, but if you do want to do the achievement set, we'll talk about what you have to do with each of them to kind of succeed. But ignoring that, overall, I do think this is a really fun Game Boy game. It's actually not a Game Boy game I played before picking up RA, which happens quite a bit actually. But when it comes down to the game itself, I found it to be very special because Penguin Wars itself is really fun, but I feel like it's brutally hard once you're past a certain point in the Famicom version. It feels like as soon as you hit round 3, it's like, okay, game's over. We're not having fun anymore. And I feel like it's a huge problem. I got stunned immediately. Great job, great job. But uh, I haven't really think that this is the best of both worlds. It's a relatively easy game if you know what you're doing, which it really depends on how well you play. But also at the same time, even if you don't really know what you're doing, I think it's just easy to pick up. It has a very low floor, and that's also the same with the achievement set itself, because you can do it incredibly fast. We got 30 there, but I think it's a very special version of Penguin Wars, and I do recommend it over every other version. Even though it is on the Game Boy, it's a little lesser in quality, in quotes. I happen to think it plays better, which is really just kind of a surprise, but hey, Game Boy always has some surprises. I would have loved playing this as a kid in a car trip. This is very fun, especially since I'm not that good at these games back then. I would have definitely struggled. I don't think I can... Oh, he's dumb. Cool. Yeah, but as you can see, he recovers a little bit better. You can kind of see it on their end, but it's especially brutal when you pick the character to showcase it. But, yeah. Overall, I'm just going to say the game, for Game Boy especially, I would consider an 8 out of 10. It is a very fun experience. Especially if you like very simplistic arcadey like games. I don't want to say it's super arcade focused, but it's definitely around there. And of course that just happened to hit me like that. Okay, we got the hit, which is good. We might actually see time come into play here. Yeah, the little magnet thing is very frustrating, especially when it's apparently trying to kill me. And I lost, actually. Oh, we drawed. Interesting. What? There's 7 there? Oh, I can't even count. It looks like there's only 6. Oh well. But yeah, as you can see, it does get a little harder, but also the your opponents are a little bit different as you go along. I'm also trying to hit him, and he doesn't seem to really like that. Alright. Make sure you can't actually get access to it. I was really hoping to hit that differently. This guy's being kind of a coward. But yeah, overall I do think this is a very, very fun game. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 if I'm honest. I happen to think is very good for the Game Boy. Oh, we kind of... I don't know why my guy hesitates so much to throw. Kind of annoying, actually. That's frustrating. Yeah, this is going to be here for a while. And it actually hit me. I think we might lose this. Funny. But that's also ignoring the actual set itself on R8, which I think is actually a pretty special set. It's not... Usually with retro achievements, I've talked about this before, it feels like there's a lot of damage lists, a lot of like blah 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 1cc, and this is a very minimal set. That's not to say it doesn't explore all the content, because it actually does a decent bit, and that's not to say there isn't hard achievements, it's just more along the lines of there's easier to understand achievements, but we're probably going to ignore the bonus so I can look at the achievement set real quick. But just to give an idea, there's, of course, going through each round. There's stunning an enemy 5 times within 1 round. Those are basic achievements going through. All the bonus games have different achievements that are attached to them, which some of them are quite difficult. Specifically, the spinner one can be really obnoxious sometimes, depending on how... and here you can see the mouse is actually very, very annoying, because it's very frustrating to actually... There we go. It's actually hard to hit him, but he takes forever to recover. But all the bonus minigames also have the kind of harder achievements. I don't think they're worth as much as they are, but it's fine. And then you also have basic score achievements, which I don't really like here, because you're going to get there as long as you beat the game. But you do have to go around twice to get the score you need, which is a little bit different than just whatever just happened. Hey, that would have gotten me an achievement right here, which is also the hardest achievement. I guess the mouse is really good for this. It was actually one of the last achievements I got, which is win a round in 7 seconds or less, which the time would be 53 or higher. Luckily, if you win on 53, which is what happened to me, you still win. You still get the achievement. And then the last achievement that I ended up getting was Zoom Master, which is play and win a match with every available character. I got hit again. And that one, if you're going to go for the set, it's not a very hard set. Just to give an idea, if I'm going to ignore this bonus game for a second. The retro ratio on it is almost 1.0. It's not that hard at all. But the set itself, if you're going to go for it, just do a quick win of a set and then lose the next one and then go to the next. It's a pretty quick achievement. It doesn't take that long. It's probably the longest one for setup wise, but yeah. Overall, I do think the set is, while simplistic, fine for the game. I think it's probably a 6 out of 10. I don't think it does anything inherently special, but hey, overall, I do think this game is worthy to check out if you just want to play on your own time. If you're over on Retro Achievements, I definitely do recommend checking this out. Not only is it a very fun game, but I think the set itself kind of encapsulates everything without being brutally difficult, as shown by the retro ratio. So 8 out of 10 for the game and 6 out of 10 for the set.